So there is something that's known as the pinnacle of video quality on the internet, and that's when somebody like myself takes on the noble undertaking of explaining Twitter drama to people who might not have heard about it or did hear about it and they want to hear about it again and hear somebody else talking about the Twitter drama. So I look, it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult. It's one of the hardest things that any YouTuber can do is to read tweets in a video. so so that's what we're gonna do. There was some drama that happened yesterday on the 14th. Ethan Klein from H3H3 Productions says, years ago, I interviewed Jordan Peterson, before I was very familiar with his politics. He was an interesting guest who I enjoyed sitting with. But, especially now, I can see he's a dangerous gateway to alt-right, transphobia, and COVID misinfo. I removed both interviews today. As you can imagine, this created a bit of a firestorm on Twitter. Now, when you're talking about where influences can kind of drift in regards to like what your content was versus how people interpret it, and they then maneuver through the YouTube algorithm, which has been shown like naturally drifts in one weird direction. I think it's pretty important that I be somewhat charitable to Jordan Peterson in that I don't think that Jordan Peterson in any way intends to be a gateway towards the alt-right. I think that he stumbles into it because he has no idea what he's fucking doing. I do think that he is smart enough to understand that he does push things towards a transphobic direction, but he makes excuses for it. And as far as COVID misinformation, I think he's just a fucking idiot. So that's me being charitable, okay? That's me being charitable. But also, Ethan conducted the interviews, and these interviews are done for his channel, and so he owns those interviews. It's his content, so he can take it down if he wants to. I mean, that's his choice. So that's really pretty much all there is to it. Jordan Peterson's views overlap with the alt-right all the time? Possibly, but at the same time, if you pull back far enough, all of our views align with everybody else. Like, there are basic things that we all kind of accept and group into. I believe that the attachment of the alt-right towards Jordan Peterson is a lot less necessarily about his messaging and more akin to those impetuses and factors usually inside somebody's life that leads them to be attracted towards the alt-right mentality. Also attracts them to Jordan Peterson. I think that's very, very common. Jordan said recently he thinks non-binary people exist and shit, so the transphobia is kind of... Yeah, I'll give him credit for that. I will. And that's the thing, too. Like, I try and be as charitable as possible with Jordan. My problem is I don't think that Jordan is inherently a bad human being. I think he's a fucking moron. A very smart, very well-read moron. I will give him props for some of the stuff he's done in the past. For instance, his work on decreasing performance gaps within groups of people directly flies in the face of like race realism and the IQ question sort of thing, which would fuck up a bunch of alt-right arguments, you know? I think he does have some value. The problem is that he has been adopted as internet daddy, and so now he thinks apparently that he can't say anything wrong, and he also doesn't do much to stem the tide of a bunch of shit that does get kind of lumped in with him. So it's good for self-help. Yeah, I guess. I know some people who really like his self-help stuff, but they refuse to listen to him in any other way, and they won't follow him on Twitter because they're like, nah, dude, no. I'll just read your books. I don't like his books either, but whatever. Anyway, so Jordan replied, "What are you up to, Ethan? We had a good conversation. I enjoyed meeting you and talking with you. What have I said precisely that motivated your actions and your accusations? Deleting our discussion. An honest question. You might seriously consider providing me with the footage so I can post it, given that I agreed to appear on your show based on the agreement that there would in fact be a show. That's not how it works. That is not how that fucking works. It is still it is still Ethan's property. It is. It was produced for his channel, so it was on his channel. The consent that it would be on there was given that it would be on his channel, but ultimately he owns it. Unless you guys have a different agreement, then it doesn't matter. Like, he can take it down if he wants. Also, I should warn you that those who engage in cancel culture generally live to regret it. How is this cancel culture? I had an interview with somebody on my channel, and I don't want it there anymore, so I took it down. Is he canceling himself? It's so bizarre to me. And Jordan Peterson, of all people, being canceled, the dude is massively, massively influential. He can go on any number of different other people's platforms at any given point in time, and they would be begging him to do it. I'm not going to come after you, except politely. Oh, how charitable, Jordan. In this Twitter stream, but the chickens will definitely come home to roost. You will be held to higher and higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standards by the very mob you currently wish to please. That's assuming that Ethan's doing this to please a mob, which maybe he is. Maybe. But Ethan himself has done some pretty bad fucking things in the past, and he's weathered that storm, and it's up to him to maintain his own... It's up to him to maintain his own cultivated online presence. Whether you agree with him or not, whether you like this move that he's doing or not, it doesn't matter. It's his choice to make. Then you will make a mistake and they will devour you. They've done it many times before. With glee. Many, many times before. There are many people who fucking hate Ethan Klein. On the left, and even more on the right. Please take this warning seriously. I liked you. I guess he doesn't like him anymore. Let's see. So next up. To start, you called a ban on conversion therapy moral grandstanding 6 days ago. Yeah, I saw this too, and that's bizarre. I mean, it's Justin Trudeau saying it's official, conversion therapy is banned in Canada, which is good. That's a good thing. Conversion therapy, more moral grandstanding from our juvenile OM. Why conversion therapy? And like how, like even he, in that Twitter thread, when Peterson posted that 6 days ago, like floods of his own fans were like, dude, no, this is a bad take. You're a fucking psychologist. How can you be in favor of conversion therapy? The only response to somebody saying, hey, we ban conversion therapy is good. Fucking good. That is a good thing. I don't understand. Like, that's a really fucking weird statement to make. You believe in enforced monogamy from a New York Times interview. This one is fucking weird. This is really fucking weird. Oh, you can't read it from that perspective. Violent attacks are what happens when men do not have partners, Mr. Peterson says, and society needs to work to make sure those men are married. So it's society's job to make sure men are married. Okay. He was angry at God because women were rejecting him, says of the Toronto killer. The cure for that is enforced monogamy. That's actually why monogamy emerges. So a guy was angry at God because women were rejecting him, and the cure to keep a man from murdering people is to enforce monogamy. And if it's society needs to work to make sure those men are married, that would seem like he's advocating for state-assigned wives. Now, if that's not what he means, fine, good. But then maybe don't say this. Mr. Peterson does not pause when he says this. Enforced monogamy is, to him, simply a rational solution. Otherwise, women will all only go for the most high-status men, he explains, and that couldn't make either gender happy in the end. This is not new. This was a while ago. This is around the time when I was like, dude, this guy's a fucking moron. Holy shit. Like, I do not understand. Half the men fail, he says, meaning that they don't procreate, and no one cares about the men who fail. Not procreating is not a demarcation of failure. Whether or not you breed is not some intrinsic quality of value. And the people who do think that are usually people like the alt-right. You're not doing yourself any favors. I laugh because it's absurd. You're laughing about them, he says, giving me a disappointed look. That's because you're female. It's really, really fucking weird. I almost want to see like what some of his fans have said to justify that one, but I don't know. Your mischaracterization of Bill C-16 resulted in a surge of transphobia. That is true. I was fucking right in deep with that shit, dude. It was fucking wild. The bill was created to add trans people as a protected group against hate crimes. Using the wrong pronoun would not result in anyone going to jail. In fact, to this day, 0 people have gone to jail. True. Using the wrong pronouns would need to be considered in totality with other actions for it to constitute a hate crime, basically like any other hate crime. True. I mean, that whole Bill C-16 thing was totally blown out of proportion. As a person, I found you amicable and our conversations very interesting and insightful, but I'm not comfortable being a part of a pipeline leading to takes like this. Up here's Justin Trudeau. Seriously, you have to kill me first. Talking about getting a booster shot. And then him air quoting scientists when they're talking about COVID and vaccines. Yeah, I really want to see if there's any cope in this one, in the replies. Let's see. Oh, Sitch, what are you doing? I assume since you're married, you agree with culturally enforced monogamy. The law on conversion therapy is worded such that a health providers can get in trouble for doing their job in trying to determine if patients have gender dysphoria or not. Okay, I don't really give a shit about the conversion therapy thing, but since you're married, you agree with culturally enforced monogamy. Sitch, we're not talking about culturally. We're talking about... Okay, well, I suppose maybe in some ways you could kind of take that from that. But, like, the fucking idea is society needs to work to make sure those men are married. So how exactly are we supposed to do that aside from, like, well, you should just really get married? Oh, hey, you're only going after high-status men, so maybe you should, like, take one for the team and let that ugly dude bust a nut in your pussy. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? COVID denial isn't looking good either. Enforced monogamy simply refers to a set of implicit rules within society which encourage marriage to one person. You, Ethan, as a married man, live your life by a code of enforced monogamy. If you spend time actually listening to Jordan Peterson, you might know that. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. Culturally enforced monogamy. Don't agree with it. Just don't see anything wrong with that belief. That's not what he fucking said. In the fucking thing, he says that men being rejected by women causes them to kill. And that the cure for that, for male murderous attitudes, is for society to push women to fucking marry lower status men. Holy shit! Oh my god! And the thing is, too, this isn't just off the cuff. This is a New York Times interview. One of the biggest paper rags that you can actually get for an interview. Plenty of time to think about this kind of thing. I don't understand how, like, every single time you say anything about fucking Jordan Peterson, they do this thing. They do this one fucking thing. Always. Every fucking time. They go, well, actually what he meant to say was. then why doesn't he say that? If the dude is so fucking brilliant and he's just so smart and so learned, then why can't he ever say what he means? Why does he need a legion of these fucking barking sealed dumb shits always being, well, actually, what he really means is, why can't he say that? And if he can't fucking bring himself to say what he actually means, then why are you mad that people are criticizing him for the things that he actually says? That's his responsibility. I don't understand these fucking people. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird. Anyway, a few more things about Peterson before we're going to wrap this up. In this one, really sad when a guy like this dipshit Rogan is in so much trouble that you have to pimp a hashtag. And this is talking about Brett Weinstein. Brett Weinstein going fucking apeshit and trying to defend Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan's a dumb fuck anti-vaxxer. But Keith Olbermann writes this. Jordan says, Keith, I bet you wouldn't dare call Rogan a dipshit to his face, at Joe Rogan. Got to tell on him a little bit. But behind safe walls and from a distance, you're a real killer. Why does Jordan Peterson put Keith in air quotes? Does he think that Keith is not Keith Olbermann's name? Or is he emphasizing Keith in like, Keith is not a very strong name? Because if that's the case, Jordan, you have the name of a 16-year-old girl that paints fucking cartoon characters on her toenails and wears flip-flops in January so everyone can see it. I'm sorry, but fucking calm thy titties. Jesus Christ. And of course, our good friend Lauren Chen, seeing the establishment repeatedly try to censor Joe Rogan, really makes me want to listen to Joe Rogan. They'll keep attacking him until everyone listens to him at Joe Rogan. It's like watching pygmy shrews mob an elephant. And now I suppose the woke mob will accuse me of racism for using the word pygmy, even though there are pygmy shrews. Pygmy is also, there's a tribe of, whatever. Fucking Jesus Christ. Anyway, what's my point of this video? My point in this video is very simple. Jordan Peterson, for every little bit of brilliance that you can get from like his books or like maybe his life advice, comes along with 1,000 times more leagues of pseudo-intellectual bullshit. Barely cogent verbal mental diarrhea spewing out through his fingertips and his mouth. And the thing is too, if I am to ascribe to him a certain amount of value for two things. Number one, his previous work as a psychologist and an educator, in which he did do some really good work. I have nothing I can say about that. But two, as far as him being able to give good life advice for young people, that is irrevocably fucking tainted for one main specific reason, and that's the choices he has made over the past 3 years have been terrible. Running away from addiction by going and putting himself in a goddamn chemical coma. That's not good. That's not strong. That's insane. Denying like established biomedical science by embracing anti-vax talking points. That's insane. I'm sorry. Maybe the things that he wrote in the past are still valid for good life advice. But as far as it is now, the past 3 years, this dude has effectively turned his brain to mush. And no, nobody should be fucking listening to him. Go read his old books and enjoy that. But I do not want people fucking Jordan-splaining if Jordan can't fucking do it himself. And as far as Ethan removing that stuff, I mean, it's his channel. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, Anyway, that's all.